Victoria Andrews, item number, it's on page 46.
I hope you can pull it up.
Councillors, 46.
It should work.
Thank you.
There you go.
Just seeing who was paying attention, who wasn't.
Do you have any handouts? Do you have any handouts for them?
Well, what do I do here? What? Oh, just the little button there.
Is Steve Lance coming?
Harry, there's a move on to the next.
Okay.
No.
David Morale's out there.
Oh, well, this is okay. I'd like to.
Oh, here's Steve.
I'd like to thank you for allowing me to present my submission today and for reinstating the formal hearing process. My submission will be very, very brief. If I can get the computer to line up here, maybe I can do it. Sorry. Maybe not. As I've said before, in previous submissions, in my view, some departments within Christchurch City Council remain entrenched in their silo mentalities, which makes it very difficult for ratepayers to get answers to questions or to affect change. I have seen councils come and go along with hundreds of staff while we as ratepayers remain in place. It often appears that little notice is taken of our comments or submissions as we repeat the same point over and over again. I use customer service, the email service, to address various reports to the council, but after 4 or 5 attempts, I'm starting to really give up all hope. Even though I serve on the Acro Issues Working Party, which has made progress on some issues to date. This is not it. Oh, there. Okay. Akaroa's seawalls offer limited protection to a large segment of the business community, and I've reported holes many times in the same area for more than 5 years. Concrete is sometimes used to fill in the holes, but erosion and wave activity quickly removes it, while also eating away at what remains of the seawalls. Sorry, I'm having trouble here with this computer. Red cones dominate the waterfront area, which is used by tens of thousands of visitors, as well as ratepayers. Pardon? I don't know. Okay, thank you. Mass tourism threatens to destroy the character and beauty of the town, as well as its lovely harborside setting. There's a general lack of maintenance, and the town appears overgrown with weeds and uncollected debris. Contracts are not properly monitored or checked. Sorry. It's just not. Well, that's not the slide I want. Okay. I should read my hard copy. It'll be easier. If council, as I said, contracts are not properly monitored or checked. If council supervisors are not capable of overseeing contracts in Akaroa and around Banks Peninsula, they should be retrained or replaced by someone who can do the job. Sorry, this is I'm sorry, this seems to be a bit of a problem. The main wharf area becomes the exclusive domain of cruise ships and tourism operators to the detriment of others, including local fishermen and anyone wishing to enjoy a walk to the end of the wharf. I would like the council's assurance that large cruise ships will be instructed to return to Littleton once the new terminal is built, since I have been informed that many ships intend to visit Akaroa the following day. The council controls the use of the surface of the wharf, and it can deny access to large cruise ships that may wish to use Akaroa as a cost-saving measure since fees are considerably less than the Port of Littleton. I also ask that the council impose a $5 passenger charge to assist in the construction of the Akaroa Health Hub, which is used by cruise ship passengers because it is considerably cheaper than going to the doctor on board. Mass tourism clogs Akaroa's narrow streets and footpaths. The situation will worsen as international visitors are projected to reach 4.5 million in 7 years. A long-term option to traffic congestion would be to instigate a park and ride system to transport visitors to the town from November through March. If Akaroa is to remain viable with a successful business community and resident population, then the council must work with ratepayers to find solutions to these problems, remembering that what works in Christchurch does not always apply to Akaroa and Banks Peninsula. Thank you.
Right, questions? Yanni?
I'm just trying to understand at the heart of the maintenance issue. This has been a common issue that people have raised. In your opinion, is it the lack of responsiveness to the complaints that are made, or is it the lack of resources and funding that's going into it, or maybe a combination of both?
I think it's probably a combination, and I think Akaroa is a little too far away. It's hard to get to. It requires driving back and forth from the city, and it would be greatly helpful, I think, to our community if we had a management structure closer to where we actually live. I think too often the managers in the city are overwhelmed by work here, and we tend to get shoved to the bottom. Very simply, I take photographs of the drains and gutters all along the streets, and they're totally clogged with leaves. If we get a torrential rain, of course, then the streets flood. Now that's simple. That should be monitored on every couple of weeks or once a month or whatever. It's not being done. Now, if a supervisor can't actually manage a contract to that degree, there needs to be some retraining or something needs to happen. In terms of Akaroa, the photograph of Sue Stewart who fell, the pavement and footpath has been like that for years. The council's known about it. We did a walking tour with the community board and staff through the Akaroa Design and Appearance Advisory Committee. All these things were noted and nothing's happened. The hole in the by the seawall, I made 4 notices for service, and now the hole's so big, the wire mesh and the post has totally fallen into it.
What I'm trying to understand is, once those issues have been made aware or been put into the system, are you being told that something's going to be done and that thing isn't happening, or are you just not getting even a response to say this will be done?
Well, sometimes I get a number. You get a response number, whatever they're called. On some occasions, somebody will say, yes, we're looking into that. In terms of the waterfront, I know they've done a survey with a ultrasound, and they're going to do some kind of work. What needs to be done is actually to reinforce the actual seawall itself. Filling the holes is not going to resolve the problem. Sometimes I get a response, sometimes I don't. I get a number quite often, and then it's up to me to follow through, and sometimes I just don't bother.
Has the working group made any difference?
It is making a difference. I have seen progress on a number of areas. In terms of the rubbish collection, it is improved vastly during peak tourist season. And yes, it is making progress because of Andrew Turner's persistence. But we haven't had a meeting now for several months, and I think we're kind of losing the ball on that one. We need to get back and press on several issues, and I think we have a meeting coming up at the end of the month. It has helped. It involves locals more in the oversight, which I think is very important.
Yeah, and I think that, we actually did try to get a contract specifically for Akaroa and couldn't get the local capacity, which is a shame, and perhaps building local capacity will be a step that the working group could help pick up, because I agree with you that if the solution isn't at hand, you're going to be waiting a long time, and then something else will take a higher priority.
Well, and I think it's that local knowledge.
Yeah.
If you can get somebody within Banks Peninsula
Yeah.
who actually can help supervise some of these things, then you'll start to see some real improvements.
I agree, and maybe
And
maybe
I-
a few penalties as well.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, yeah, in terms of the contracts that we've got over there, that might be the way to go. But look, thank you very much, Victoria. It's much appreciated, as always. It's good that you make the effort to come, and I'm disappointed to hear you say that you feel like you don't make a difference. You do, and we do listen, and it doesn't mean that we can deliver on everything that you raise every time.
No, I understand.
But it's like, you know, dripping water on
And I do
stone.
appreciate the news about the cruise ship terminal,
Yeah.
but I would like some assurance that the ships actually will be directed back.
Not all of the ships will be,
No,
because
but-
boutique ships will always want to go to Aotearoa and will prefer it. But I think in the context of Littleton reopening and looking at what we charge at Aotearoa, I think that we need to have some conversations
Yeah.
with the kind of the experts in that area about where we strike that difference, because it's much higher at Littleton, as you say.
Yeah.
And what does that actually mean? But your comment about ports not making money, it's not that ports don't make money. They don't make the kind of profit that they make on
Yeah.
their cargo turnover. And
Yeah.
I think it's that's where the conflict arises, which is why the councils, directed investment into the cruise ship terminal through the port company. But that isn't something that would have stacked up in a business case for the port company alone.
No, I appreciate that, and
Yeah.
I do understand that point.
Very good. Right, well, I've now taken you well over time, so thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah. And Steve Lowndes, if you could come forward on behalf of the